Welcome to Funny Florida Females. I'm Clarice Canwood.
And I'm Patti Hope.
And we're both comedians and Florida transplants. With this podcast, we aim to feature and celebrate what makes Florida females, like our guest Roo Nafasat, so funny. So how are you, Patti?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm flustered with this Stanley Cup thing.
What's the Stanley Cup thing?
We're not talking hockey, Patti.
Oh.
I mean,
I know.
Cups. Stanley Cups.
Oh, the cups?
Yeah, they're Stanley, who's made cups and insulated crap for like 50 freaking years now, puts out a pink cup, gets like 2 or 3 influencers to buy and push these cups.
Okay.
And now everybody needs a pink Stanley Cup.
Oh my God.
Roo, you've heard of this, right?
Oh, I've heard of a Stanley Cup. I've been on the internet.
I see you do not have the
interwebs,
Stanley
no.
Cup.
No, because I don't like to beat by someone else's drum. And also, I can't afford a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, they're like
Bottom line.
$50.
What?
And the resale value on those things is crazy. Like, you're not going to find it in the store, and then you're going to have to pay like $100 for a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I saw one on eBay. It was like $175 for a cup with a handle. And then in the last 2 days, I've seen 4 different people post that the freaking handle fell off of their damn Stanley Cups.
That's not even worth it.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, and then I read an article about a 6-year-old that got beat up at school because she came in with a cup that wasn't a Stanley Cup, and like her friends had a Stanley Cup. I'm like, you're 6. The cup
It's
holds
not funny,
like,
but it's funny. Right?
it's not funny, but it is. Like the cup's bigger than the kid. You're
Over
5.
a freaking cup. Goodness. That's disturbing.
Comical. I mean, it's comical in like a very tragic way, but you know.
That, yeah. Like that, it's just the next thing that everybody feels like they have to be like everybody else. Which is kind of the opposite of being in comedy, because you try to be not like everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, that's the
Differentiate
goal,
yourself.
I think.
Yeah.
Or the accident that happens.
Right, the accident that happens. So yeah, as I said, we have the wonderful Roo Nafasat with us. Patti, do you want to tell us about Roo?
Were gonna.
I'll do it. Okay, guys, get ready to laugh out loud, guys. Our next guest is a comedic force that brings whimsy and hilarity to stages across Florida and Chicago. Hailing from the vibrant city of Orlando, Florida, she's none other than the fantastic Roo Nafasat. Known for her whimsical, goofy, and lighthearted nature on stage, you can catch her spreading joy and laughter at various venues throughout Florida and the windy city of Chicago. Roo's not just a comedian, she's also the mastermind behind the wildly popular monthly Silly Goose comedy showcase at Breakthrough Theater in Orlando. It's definitely a comedy extravaganza you don't want to miss. So, yeah, Patti, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that was
I know.
Intro,
laid it thick. Like, I feel so flattered.
Go girls!
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, let's back up a little bit. How did you come into comedy? What's your arrival story?
I think I've always wanted to do stand up, but I like can't pay attention to other people, so I didn't really watch other stand up comedians. But then I think at a certain point, like when I was in high school, I got this mindset where I had to like make sure I like provided for my family rather than do these like artistic endeavors. So I was like, any sort of art or performance art was just not part of my identity at that point, because I felt like I had to just like focus on being like the oldest child type stuff, because my family didn't come with a lot. But then I went to college, I got a job, I like did everything right with whatever everyone else like expects out of me. So I just decided that like, hey, like I think now is a time to take an improv class, which really unlocked a lot. Like I had a lot of fun doing it. It was like the permission to be just like silly and goofy and nonsensical. But you need to have a lot of friends to do improv. So I got into stand up.
Because you can do that by yourself, right?
Yeah, and I don't have to like coordinate with anyone else's schedule.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
Yeah, that was a problem when I did improv for a little while.
Yeah.
And that was always a problem, was like getting 6-7 people together
Yeah, and then God forbid someone has a baby and a family, like
Right, yeah. Messes everything up, yeah.
now you can never schedule anything.
So what? So Chicago and here. What is there? You go back and forth, or what?
So I go back and forth just because like my family's up there
Okay.
and everything. I actually started doing comedy when I was down here in Orlando. And like I go up there and it's like, okay, I get connected. I get on a couple of stages. And the turnout on my Chicago shows is great because it's like all my friends from like different parts of my life that I hadn't seen in a while, combined with just like comedy culture in Chicago that like, I have more people in Chicago coming to my shows than like in Orlando where I do shows all the time.
Oh,
Because you have childhood friends, people you went to school with up there and stuff.
Yeah,
that
and I piqued their curiosity, and there's like a thing where you like when you first start doing stand up, you just invite your friends to everything, and then you kind of exhaust them as an audience.
They get tired of coming.
Yeah, and it's like they've seen your set like a million times, or they've seen all these other comics at that point a million times. But then like I go to Chicago and I don't normally perform there, and my friends from like high school and college or whatever, they're like following my stuff online, so they've seen kind of how I've grown, and that's like a more satisfying. They waited and saw like a real fleshed out art performance rather than like here where they just see.
You get the more compliments, like you're better than the last time you were here.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you go back home and your like mom is like a lot more happy to see you because she hasn't seen you in a while. It's just like fun. I don't know.
that's cool. So, do you have difficulty, like what you were talking about your personal life and then doing the comedy? So, how are you balancing that now, or how is that working out with your life now?
It's something. I think in my day-to-day life, I feel like right now I'll feel a lot more skewed to comedy than my personal life because it takes a lot of your time if you want to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it
do
in
you
a
do
way.
something else? Like, do you have another job on the side?
Yeah, I
that
have
you
a
do?
day job that I got with my science degree, so it's like a boring like computer job.
Well, there you go.
But that helps because it's like I mostly work remote for that, and that helps so that I can like be in wherever I need to be to do comedy.
Yeah. And plus, you can, no boss around to be like, "Are you writing comedy, Roo? You're supposed to be doing computer stuff."
Yeah, honestly, he's probably on Facebook scrolling too. So,
Very good.
Do you have what's one of your like favorite stories about either on stage or off stage about doing comedy?
about doing comedy or something bad that I did that I'm kind of proud of after the fact.
Oh, we're happy with those stories too.
Well, I haven't figured out a way to like talk about it on set, but there was this one time I was feeling really good. I had just like closed on my house, my first home.
Nice.
And I was like, how to just make this high go even higher? Do comedy. So I go to an open mic and I'm trying to like do a set, but you know how these open mics and bars are. Not everyone's like.
They're not all there for comedy.
Yeah, they're not there for comedy. They're not listening.
Sometimes there's a TV on with the sports game going at the same time.
Yeah, or it's like their friends are just there and trying to have a good time, and there's some dude talking about his dick on a mic. You're like,
Right.
but, yeah, I went up. I tried to do a set because I'm feeling good, but there's just this table that will not be quiet. They were just being disrespectful to like the waitresses the entire time and they weren't quiet. So I go over and I'm talking to the rest of the crowd and I'm like, hey, should I tell this table to be quiet? And the one guy at the open mic listening was like, yeah, do it. And that was enough for me. So I walk off the stage with the mic and try to like say, hey, can you be quiet? I'm trying to do some new material here. I was trying to be polite, but I also had a microphone in my hand. And the like biggest, like burliest guy at the table was like, no. And that like switched something off on me where I was just like, I just like got ticked off and it wasn't the right way to handle it, but I tried to like take this man's like can of beer out of his hand, just put it somewhere else on the table. But he was holding onto it too tight, so I crushed a full can of beer in his hand.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And then went back on stage. I got the light, so like people were not happy with me for a very long time.
Like people in the comedy world or people in the audience?
People in the comedy world. People in the comedy world that night, because I was third on the open mic list.
So yeah.
Pissed this guy off.
Yeah, I just like messed up the room for the entire time, and like they were like yelling. It was a whole thing.
Oh my god.
But I'm proud of myself. One, the waitresses hugged me after, so I figured it couldn't be that bad. But two, it was just like it felt good that like there was this guy who obviously just like couldn't take
A woman being on stage. And,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Like I don't want to say it like that, but like yeah, it was like that kind of a vibe. And I just showed him like,
Well, I mean, the way he was like, no. Like,
yeah,
that's
No.
It was just with a lot of attitude, just like big, and I don't, you like, why are you doing that? And it just like it felt like a lot of like crazy power, where I was like, okay, well, you're gonna tell me no, well, you can't, so here.
Oh no. Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah, I'm. Sometimes I have one of those episodes once a year. You have to have one as a woman.
Like, what's one of the, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What do you think some of the challenges of being a female comedian? I saw you just did a video with, Ash, Cash, and
Yeah.
some other females about,
We're gonna link to
women.
that on our.
Yeah, we're going to link to
on
that
our
on our podcast of the female comedians.
Yeah, I think it's they see you as a woman first, and before they see you as an artist or a comic. Like they don't see they just like don't see that first. And I don't know, I have always done male dominated fields. Like I took lots of classes in physics, and I work in like a male dominated
STEM
industry.
thing.
Yeah, just like being in STEM, but I never felt like fully like, oh god, I like feminism needs to be here, more than when I'm in like when I started doing open mic comedies, and I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in the 70s.
Right? Yeah,
Nothing has
sometimes
changed.
it
the
is.
rules. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just like all about like if you present yourself just slightly skewed, it could be seen as like, oh, you're just trying to be hot on stage and have people listen to you, which is true to a certain extent. But like I'm saying like actual
Well, I mean,
smart
should they
written
expect
words.
female comedians to get up on stage and just be like, you know, as ugly as we possibly could, just so that, you know, like
Yeah,
we're not
like,
too
why is-
hot on stage?
Why can you have an absolute hunk of a man up in like a suit, like say like funny things and like everyone love him, but I can't have a nice Brazilian blowout?
Show a little
And
cleave.
yeah, like not even cleave, just show my ankles.
No,
Your
no.
ankles.
Like there's you should be able, like if you look good, you feel good, you're gonna perform well. I don't see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the problem there is.
I agree.
Yeah, I've run across the idea that a lot of times you get introduced as a female comedian
Yeah.
instead of just like where the booker will introduce everybody else as this great comedian, but then when it comes to the women, it's like a female comedian. Like it just sometimes it hits a little funky.
Yeah, it does, because it's like the first thing they comment on is your appearance, right? For me, like they just always are like, oh, what a cute little girl, and like I feel it's like almost infantilizing sometimes
Yeah.
when you know you're writing like pretty good stuff, if I say so myself.
I'd rather you say I'm funny than pretty.
Yeah.
You know, at that point.
Yeah, like I put so much work into it. I actually produce shows in the area, and you're still gonna call me just a female comedian? Come on, man. Come on.
Do you think there's a difference between Florida and Chicago in terms of like your material and like are there jokes that?
Yeah, I'll say
land differently?
definitely a different audience. I think Chicago, I just understand a little bit more because I know the areas that I would hang out in, and I grew up there. I went to college there. I kind of grew up with that like state of mind thinking. Florida can be challenging because there's not a lot of people that can relate to my experience as much as they would in Chicago. So, but I will say working my material out here in Florida has made me a lot, like it has helped be pretty good in Chicago. So,
because there's also probably a lot more of a diversity in like ages here than maybe that you see in Chicago, right?
yeah, right. Like you go to more rooms where like doing a set at Gregory's is way different than doing a set across the coast in like Tampa, like at the Gimmick. Completely different audiences.
Yeah. Do you come up like toward the Villages and whatnot?
I actually haven't done comedy in the Villages yet, so I don't know what that would be like. I'm kind of scared.
Right. What are some of your goals like for the future?
You know, I really like doing this comedy thing. So like short-term goals, I definitely want this year I want to get into featuring, and I want to deliver like a good feature set and just like become a feature while also kind of doing host gigs. But that's like my goal for this year, is just do a feature set.
Tell us a little about the Silly Goose.
Yeah, it's a show that I produce in Winter Park. We started off with stand-ups, right? It's primarily a stand-up showcase, but in the middle we have a Duck Duck Goose section where we have a guest improv troupe that come in, do their thing, and it's just a very lighthearted stage that it's fun. You guys should come around sometime.
Yeah, maybe
right.
we'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do we'll do
Live taping.
a live taping or something from.
Yeah, we could
That
we
would
could
be
square away
awesome.
some time for that. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, we have a segment that we like to call Florida Woman, and
goofy.
because they're so, you hear about the Florida man stories, the crazy things
Yeah.
Florida men do. Well, we figure there's some crazy ass Florida women too.
Yeah, probably.
So,
She's finding them. I don't know how she's finding them, but she's finding them. So here, this is this. You're welcome to comment on our today's Florida woman. Florida woman slings mac and cheese potato wedges during bizarre incident at a gas station.
I want
This
to.
is in Cocoa, Florida.
That's so close. What?
right.
That's like right
Here we
there.
go. You ready?
Okay.
A Florida woman is facing multiple charges following a bizarre incident at a convenience store in Brevard County. Mercy Thomas, 23, of Cocoa, was arrested on charges of robbery by sudden snatching, battery, no, that was a thing, criminal mischief, and witness tampering, officials said. On January 6th, police officers responded to the convenience store at the mobile blah, 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 and they entered. The woman reportedly was throwing food and damaged merchandise. The incident was captured on surveillance video, blah, blah, blah. Later, let's see, this is her husband? Could be seen yelling at a husband and wife who were in the store before throwing a container of mac and cheese. He then went on to throw the store's potato wedges on the ground.
Whoa.
I don't know.
but yeah, like
What happens?
I guess she went into the store and they didn't have something she wanted, and she got all pissed off and started like throwing food around the store at them.
Have mercy, mercy.
Like-
That's well,
It conflated more. There were like other people got involved. It's just
Yeah,
so
like-
random.
While that's crazy, that's like absolutely nuts. I feel like we have to you have to have a day where you snap. And what
That's
is
right.
still, sometimes I want, like, sometimes
mac
it
and
would
cheese
feel
day,
good.
yeah.
You have the whole mac and cheese day, all the mayonnaise and the potato salad or whatever
Right.
everywhere. It'll get that emotion out, and then you'll be normal for a good 6 months.
Yeah.
So every 6 months, you need to take
have
a
mac
minute
and
to
cheese. Sling
It
the mac
depends
and
on the
cheese
lose
day.
your shit every 6
Yeah,
months.
it depends on the person, but me personally, 6 months is, about when I have to lose my shit.
And
Maybe
crush
we
a
could have,
customer's
like,
can.
safe spaces for
yeah. We need more
Like
rage
a room.
rooms.
Yeah, like a rage room. Yeah, exactly. Where you can come
That
and just
maybe
lose your
that's
shit.
an
Yeah.
idea. Do stand-up comedy, and then after we all go to a rage room.
Personally, I think we should bring back tomatoes.
I like that idea.
Yeah, just throw some tomatoes.
my gosh.
Well, we'd like to thank Leo Zuniga for producing this podcast, and Eddie Buscana for our AI specialist and social media guru. I mean, he's amazing with AI. And of course, our sponsors, and the most thanks goes to you, our listeners.
Yeah, and Roo, so tell us, just so folks know, how we can see what you're up to next. How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, I got it all. All right. If you're interested in my personal journey, you can follow me on all platforms at Arusa STFU. That's at UROOSA STFU. If you're interested in the Silly Geese Show, it's at Silly Geese Show on Instagram. And then I have a website called sillyroos.com where you can find my calendar.
And we will post all those links in the description for
Right, in our show
podcast.
notes. Great. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
It's a wrap.